Hey Dee, what's going on? This is Co-Labbin with Dee and Shawna. So excited for this episode. Roses, Rosé, and real talk. You ready to get started?
Let's go.
What do you got in your glass? Because I got some Moscato. I know
you are drinking. You are really having a good time over there, aren't you?
Most wine drinkers would shame me for drinking some cherry blossom Moscato, but it's one of my favorites.
Especially because it's not even red. It's not even rosé.
She's ready to jump in. So let's introduce her. So this episode, we will have the magnificent woman that's behind this amazing operation, our EP, Miss Yvonne Winfrey.
Hey y'all, what's up? You know how it is. I say it all the time. You can't see my face, but you can hear my heart.
Oh, yes. And we're so cute. This is the right.
And this is a good episode for
This is a good episode to hear some heart, Yvonne. This is a good episode for that.
All right. So, Dee, we had how many questions? We had 10 questions go out to some of our closest family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting answers. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about, relationships, right?
Yes. You are a relationship connoisseur, I think, of sorts. Do you think so?
I do, because I'm one of those people that always ask questions, especially if I meet a couple that's been together for a long time. I say, I want to know all the secrets. How'd you do it? Tell me. You know what I mean? Because I just think relationships and relating to our partners can be difficult at times. And I just want to have as much information in enough ammunition in my arsenal.
In your arsenal,
throughout the years.
It's not easy. So I love this episode because we're going to have a real conversation. And, Yvonne, you're going to guide us through. So I can't wait to get started.
That's right.
Let's do it.
So what's our
first thing I want to say is that the responses came in that it was 25% men and 75% women. Now, I think that's the first thing y'all need to talk about. Yeah, there you go.
Whoa.
Well, I'm surprised, right? Men don't talk about relationships like that. They just in relationships. They don't talk about relationships. It's us. It's the women. We like to have the conversation. We like to share information, right? Like, what you doing over there? Oh yeah,
It's the emotion behind it. It's the emotion. I guess maybe they don't want to share the emotions behind it. But big ups to the men that did complete the survey because you guys were honest and raw, and I love it. I love it because I love to hear a man's perspective. We need to hear from you all. If we're relating, we need to hear from the men in our lives. So I wish more men did participate.
Well, let's start off with the first one, right? So the first one, I think that we can just do that really quick. The first question was, is Valentine's Day a perfect time to try something new with your partner? Please tell us why, or why it's just another day. And basically, the responses you guys can talk about are, most people said yes. I'll say that. Most people said yes, but it's funny because the people who said it's just another day, they were pretty adamant, like all caps, bold. Like they were like, no, it's just another day. What do y'all think about that?
Well, Dee, you go first. I'm curious to see how you feel.
No, don't go, Dee, go first. You go first.
All right. No, so, I'm 50-50 with it, right? I think any day is a day to do something special with your partner, with your honey. I don't think you have to wait for Valentine's Day, but, it could be a day, an excuse to do something special. But I don't think it's a must, especially when in a long-term relationship where I feel like sometimes life gets in the way. And if it's in the middle of the week and you got practice with your kids and you're running here and running there and you got work, it may not be realistic and you're actually putting stress on each other to celebrate a day deemed by society as the day of love, when it could be whatever you want, whatever works for the two of you, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like if you want to talk about making it last, I do think that, it has to be any day. Anytime, any place, like Janet said, right? It's supposed to be any day.
Yes.
I think, Valentine's Day, if you're going to do something, let it not just be like something different in the bedroom. Do something like really, really different, really, really new. Maybe take a helicopter ride somewhere off or something. Something that's like really, really, something you guys can do to celebrate each other and bring a different experience, right? Because I think it's all really about new and different experiences that you can share together. And, when you're sitting down and maybe you're in that bit of a lump in your relationship, or slump, I should say, you could be like, well, remember that time when, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I agree. I feel like it shouldn't just be Valentine's. If you're waiting for Valentine's, then I feel like that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. Absolutely. Valentine's, anniversaries, like that's a problem. Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. It has to be an everyday thing. It could be little things too. It doesn't always have to be, obviously you can reserve Valentine's Day maybe for the bigger things, but every now and again we should be doing something special for our partners to keep it fresh,
My favorite answer, okay, some of the other answers get a little bit spicy, but this one was a pretty straightforward one. But I want to say the most balanced answer came from a male. And he said, sure, it's a fun day to try something new, as long as it doesn't become the only day.
Oh,
that's right. Yes. There you go. There you go.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
All right. So our next question.
Rather spicy. You said there's some spicy answers. No,
coming up in the other questions.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Yvonne. So what's the next question? I'm ready. All right.
In long-term relationships, how do you and your partner keep it fresh? I don't know if this is my favorite answer because I don't know. We might have to bring this person on because I kind of understand it. Let's just put it this way. I kind of feel it, but I don't know if I understand it. She just put sometimes, that was it.
All right. We did not.
Yep. Why y'all have nothing to say about that?
I'm not touching that. I don't even know.
I don't even know what that means. Sometimes,
maybe she's saying sometimes, wow.
Like the big O, like does that mean the big O? Like keep it
fresh? Maybe.
The big O?
Okay.
Well, I hope that's not sometimes.
What? For some people, it might be though. Everybody's different, especially in a long-term relationship. I've talked to a lot of my friends. I have a funny story actually. So I sent this out to a few people that I know, and it was a mom of 3. And she said to me, I didn't even know how to answer half those questions. She said, Valentine's Day, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, I never dress up, you know what I mean? And just people get caught up in life and they don't know how to keep it fresh in their relationship. They just feel like they're tending to the needs of the kids and they're not tending to their own needs in their relationships. So that's a real thing. And that could include.
That's not really funny though. That's kind of sad. I'm just saying.
It is sad. I was going to say that makes me sad. Yeah.
It is sad. But you know what? That's why we're talking about this, because we want people to understand the importance of that connection with your partner and the importance of prioritizing your relationship. I think we've become a society that prioritizes our kids. And y'all know, I'm going to say for us.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we have our date nights. We do not cancel or rearrange our date nights for the kids. The kids got to work around our schedule when it comes to our time together. And that's how I feel like you maintain that connection. You maintain communication, because communication is the key to a healthy relationship, in my opinion.
Yeah, Shawna, you keep protecting that. You're absolutely right to do that. You're right.
I know I get a lot of flack for it, though. I'm going to say that. I get a lot of flack.
So someone else said selflessness. Do something selfless for your partner. Something that is centered around them to show that they matter to you. And I thought the selflessness was just an interesting word because I think, we're in a society that, we do for ourselves and things like that.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Dee?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, I feel like to say that, I feel like the core of relationships is that or should be that. So, it feels like a given to me, right? That if you're going to be in relationship with someone else, that should be you giving of yourself. Like you should really be putting their needs, ahead. Now, I struggle with the kid thing for sure. Like you and I have talked about that. Yeah. In terms of making sure to keep date night, because we have young kids. You and I both have young girls. Yeah. But yeah, I think in terms of being selfless, but that goes back to, do you know what your partner's needs are? Because that's the only way you can do something selfless and not know that you're focused on your own self and what you think their needs are, right? I feel like too many people in relationships, they don't really, they interact based on their own love language and not their partner's love language, and understanding what their partner needs most. Just because I'm, the person that might love gifts or quality time, your partner might be, words of affirmation, or something different. And so you really have to learn to communicate based on their love language and what is it that's going to be most appealing to them, I feel like. And that's not always easy. It's not. We talk about all this like it's so easy. It really is not, especially in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, easier said than done. But I want something you touched on that I think is important, because I feel like a lot of our listeners are like us, right? They're moms. And we're all struggling as professionals and moms, right? As parents and partners, right? To balance those things out. And I know you said that's the area you struggle. Of course, you have your daughter and she's your priority, 100%. Don't disagree with that. But what I've learned is that they're always watching us, right? And we're women and we have girls, and they have to see what a healthy relationship looks like. And that is, balance is key to that, right? Like, yes, you're important, but mommy and daddy, our relationship is important too. So that's something.
But what's balance? Is balance a date night every week? Like, for every relationship, that's going to be.
It's probably different for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's different for everyone. So, maybe you have one couple that feels like that's what they need to sort of inject the energy in their relationship. But not every couple feels like they have to go out every week. For some couples, a family movie night might be the thing that they feel brings them together,
But does a family movie night bring you and your partner closer together, right? There's a part of us that we're in family mode, and then a part of us that's in relationship mode.
And it's interesting too, because, it's so great that we brought in the male perspective, because there's a couple of answers here that, I'm looking at the answers, and then I go look and see if it's a male or a female. There's quite a few answers that say we should do things apart more.
Wow.
And this was my favorite answer: having full separate lives so you have something to bring to the relationship. But Shawna, you just said it, that that it's different for everyone. Isn't that interesting?
It is, because I don't agree with that. But I understand. I can see that. I can absolutely understand that perspective. I just don't agree with it. You know what I mean?
You don't agree with what, per se?
I don't agree having separate lives.
What do you mean by that? You don't agree with having separate lives?
Obviously, you have your friendships, and you might have your girls' night. You might have your girls' trip, right? But for me, I don't really do girls' night. I don't really do girls' trips. I might have lunch with my girls every now and again, or I'll have breakfast, or definitely in my business and being in real estate, I'm constantly out there, out and about. But I feel like I make my relationship a priority. I do. We have our date nights once, maybe twice a week. We have our time together. We absolutely have our time just alone talking. We might be up late talking together. Like, we're constantly communicating with one another. So I'm not going to prioritize any friend over my relationship. That's just how I feel.
I don't think that's what that has to mean, though. Like, because you say you have to have time apart doesn't mean that you're prioritizing other relationships.
I'm going to have to step in on this one because I understand what Shawna is saying, that the definition of this, but they said this, having full separate lives.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that can get in the way of your relationship, right? But it does depend on people.
I don't know what that means. Full separate lives. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Because if you're in a relationship, like for me, I have friends that I've been friends with for seventh grade. I know that there are times when I know, which is not often, that, there may be a birthday and we're going to go out and we're going to have dinner. And I enjoy having that time with my girls, the people that I know have been with me and know me for a long time. Like that's a connection for me. And my partner doesn't mind that, so like that for me is, and I'm very, I'm very close to my family, so when you say separate lives, but of course with family, that's typically stuff we do together. But yeah, my friends are a part of my life. And in the time that I was in a relationship where I felt like that person was sort of ostracizing me from that, was not a happy time and a happy place, because I feel like that's something there too. It feels like a certain amount of control when someone is ostracizing you from other people that love you. And it's not about prioritizing the relationship. The relationship should be a priority, but I do feel like there's something about knowing self and, making sure that there's other parts of you that, are interesting and that you have find fulfillment in as well. But not to say that it's a separation from my partner.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that you can have I'm not saying not to have your nights, and it absolutely shouldn't be something that's off the table. Again, I think it's about the people, right? Like if that's important to you, then your partner should understand that these are people that are important to your life. And more than likely when you have friendships with someone from seventh grade, those are like family members,
Yeah,
so
my sisters. Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to have your time with them. It's just not going to be as often, right? It's going to be from time to time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got to address the spicy ones, right? Let's get spicy now, right? I'm saying the spicy ones. Well, I do like it that one of the males said, as a response to, in long-term relationships, how do you and your partner keep it fresh? He said the spiciness of the bedroom. So we like that male.
It's important.
Make it to my face. The next one I love is lots of foreplay. I want y'all to guess. Guess. Male or female?
Female for sure. Only a woman that foreplay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that. I mean, I think men want.
That is funny. They need lots of foreplay.
I say women are going to ask for it more, because I think it's a given that men want the foreplay. Women
ask for foreplay?
No,
that is whack. I do not want to have to ask for no foreplay.
No, I don't think you should have to ask your man if he's in tune with you. He should know like what you do. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. But foreplay is important, right? It is. Absolutely.
Well, and a woman said, continuing to date each other, have weekly date nights, role play.
And that you, Shawna?
Different characters.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Like, ready? Wait. She gave an example.
Oh, okay.
I know. Like, dress up as a sexy nurse.
Oh, okay. That was not me. No. I don't do what do you call that? There's a word for that. That's a revert
role play.
No, a part of foreplay though. That's a type of foreplay, right? You dress
up. Role play.
Role play. Thank you. I don't do role play. Role
play. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're basically saying,
would you do role play, Dee? Would you do that?
Yeah, I would do that for my partner. Let me sip my wine. Yes, I would do that. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. I like to keep it interesting.
You a lie and the truth ain't in you. What are you talking about?
I would keep it interesting in other ways. I don't think I can do role play. It's just not who I am.
Oh, ma'am. You can do role play. Oh, ma'am. Are you serious?
Shawna might have to make it like sci-fi.
I just, I know, right? Alien, sexy alien,
Told you.
mistress,
That is crazy. Well, you wait. Okay, so what? You think you can't keep character?
Like an astronaut? No, I'm joking.
Well, it's interesting because, we talked about spiciness, but I liked it that one female said, get back to the basics: eye contact, physical touch, compliments, and validation.
I love that.
I love that too, because it's simple.
I love that. That's simple, and it's very romantic.
It is.
It's very romantic. What is the simplest, most romantic thing that you think that you've done? Like simple, but that's like a connection. Yeah.
Well, I remember when my husband and I first got together, right? We lived in the same house. We lived in this house where it was a duplex, right? We were neighbors. And when we first got together for our first Valentine's Day, I created a picture of that house in black and white. I put a red heart on top of it. And I just wrote that, our hearts are old friends. And, I don't remember the exact from word to word, but it was just about how we've always known each other. And now here it is, we're reconnecting 26 years later. And that's where it all began. To me, that was like a very simple thing I could do just to show how I was feeling. And that was only us like 2 months into our relationship. So it was still very new. And it was very simple and sweet, but just a reminder of where we started.
That's nice.
The next question is, does the number of sexual partners a person has had before you matter? Why or why not? Now, this one was fun. This one definitely was fun. You know how we had our percentages before? Next time I have to make the questions a lot more quantitative, because this time I had to highlight it to just see blues and pinks. Because every blue said no, except for one.
That's interesting. I'm surprised. And that's all the blue are men, I'm assuming. So they're saying that most men don't matter. So that's interesting, because I feel like men care about that. Men care about how many partners women have had.
Yeah,
there's one male that said yes, it lets you better understand how a person values intimacy.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But so the men, you think the men are saying doesn't matter for themselves or the woman that they don't need?
Dee.
Yeah.
That is the question.
Wait a minute, let's stop for a second. Do y'all know what, I'm gonna say the young kids, because I'm old. So what the young kids call this?
No,
I learned this, as a director, I learned this on set from the actors. I overheard this. Then they started asking me and I left. They said, what's your body count?
Your body? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've heard
that before. I have heard that before.
I don't like it. Why is this death? Why is this death? I don't like that.
I don't like it either, because it sounds negative. You know what I mean?
It does.
And honestly, I feel like we're in an age where women are a lot more comfortable with their sexuality, right? And as they should be. There should not be a double standard. As long as you're protecting yourself and you're not doing anything to harm anybody else, what you do is your business, in my opinion, right? And I don't think that should affect any relationships moving forward. That's just my honest opinion about it. It was never a factor. Actually, I never asked.
One female said, no, I'm too old for that. And it wasn't me.
That's at what point are you getting with this person? Because if you're getting with somebody in your 40s or in your 30s, they're going to be, you would hope they'd be experienced in the bedroom.
Well, they could have been experienced with just one person, though.
I was going to say, like, having multiple partners doesn't equate to experience, because you could have been doing it wrong a whole lot of times. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't mean that you got it, and it's all about knowing your partner.
Yes.
Really.
And there was a lot of mentions about specifically from the female about, was it casual, unsafe sex? And they would need to know that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely
Yes.
protect yourself, no doubt.
Safety is important for sure. But I do agree that at a certain point, right, you don't ask that question.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the next one, the follow-up to that question, which was for the question above, do you believe there's a double standard between men and women? Why or why not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. We know this. We know this. We know women are considered promiscuous.
Loose. Women that are loose.
What'd you say?
I said women that are loose.
And men, it's just like the more the merrier, right? It's like it adds to their masculinity. Oh, the more women they have.
Wait a minute. The more the merrier? I don't think I've.
That's not the term
that when referring to sex.
No, but I feel like with men, it's this expectation amongst other men to be experienced, to have been with multiple women, and that speaks to who you are as a man.
A man, you're
I mean, within the community of men. Now, do women feel that way about men? No, and I don't think women want a man that has been promiscuous, right?
I don't believe so either.
And if they're with their boys, the more women you've been with, the more of a man, quote unquote, man you are. That's what I believe. I don't know.
I want to hope as well that as you get a certain age, that is like not a thing. I want to hope so as well. But
well, the answers were kind of interesting too, because it seems that most of the women said yes, but we don't know why. And I'm going to be fully transparent on that one. I was one of the people who said that it does matter, but why? And then there's, quite a few answers that say societal standards and things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, that drives it. It's we live in a patriarchal society, right? Where, men can do no wrong. in that place, in that space.
Well, and the next question is, can a person in a relationship be friends with the opposite sex? Why or why not?
Oh, this is a good one. Shawna, I want to know what you think.
So, so actually, I'm interested to hear the answers because I don't think, I'm going to be honest, like I have male friends, I have male acquaintances, but I don't really believe, not people that I go out to lunch with, not that I have any like constant contact with, right? It's just people that I've known over the years that I'll call friends. But I do believe it's very hard for men and women to be friends without that underlying presence of a potential sexual relationship, right? I think it's all about time and place, right? If the time is right and the opportunity is there, I think it could happen, and I mean, obviously you have to be attracted to that person too. There could be a situation where one is not attracted to the other, but it doesn't mean there's not an attraction there on one side,
Well, again, that was interesting because that was one of those kind of lopsided answers. Almost every man, except for that one special man, we have to find out who that is. Every man said yes, and most of the women said no, to a degree. There's some that said, that deep friendship should be kept between yourself and your significant other. I kind of like this one. I'm not sure why, but I do. Yes, but temptation will be there, and you have to pray and trust your partner.
Oh, God.
No,
many of them were just keeping the boundaries clear. Many of the answers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to pray on something. That you shouldn't be in a relationship. You shouldn't be in that friendship at all. I guess for me, I've had male friends that I've grown up with, and I've never it's always been strictly platonic. And they, I've introduced them, to my mates. And there's never been any sort of lines crossed or blurred, I should say, in terms of attraction or anything like that. So this one is hard for me because I can understand why someone would say no, but I also I've done it successfully. So to me, it's not been an issue. But if I knew it was an issue for my partner, then I would have to consider his feelings,
Dee, you just answered a question actually for me. Someone answered yes, but no new friends. So when you just said that these were older friends, that it was okay, you answered that question.
Yeah, I feel like that's a slippery slope. Like if because we all work with people, so you meet people, in the workplace. So I feel like it's a slippery slope. If you're inviting a new relationship in your life, I do feel like you're opening yourself up to trouble, I do feel like that. I feel like if you're in a relationship and if they weren't there before, they'll come to me talking about, this is my work bestie, or I don't want to hear that.
My work wife.
Definitely don't come and say that's my work wife, because that is not gonna fly. But if I met someone and meeting them, as I'm getting to know them, I was getting to know this other person, maybe I'll be okay with it. It hasn't happened to me in that way, so I really don't know. I don't know.
Let me just say
on the other end of it, so I don't know.
But you know what, though? I think trust is so important in a relationship, especially, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything, so I feel like at this point in my life, I'm not stressing, right? I have the type of relationship where we have, strong trust between us, strong bond between us. So I don't think there'd be a point where, let's say there is somebody that they met, you know what I mean? Would I have an issue with it? More than likely not, because the trust is there. I think it's only when that trust is up in the air with somebody that you have to worry. But Dee, just knowing you, I know you're setting those strong boundaries as well. But my question for you, has there ever been a feeling that you've had to set boundaries because you might sense, we all know when someone's attracted to us. Have you ever sensed that the other person might have been attracted to you, so you're setting strong boundaries because you appreciate that friendship?
You mean like in the friends that I've had for a long time?
Yeah, or you're in the business of having to socialize and network with people, and you've met people. So I'm sure you've met people and had some type of.
Oh yeah, when you meet people, a woman knows for sure, and so absolutely, you've gotta like I know how to make sure that I am interacting appropriately, where we're friendly and we can vibe, but also understanding that it's not going down. There's a certain energy you give off, and I can't really say that it's been a long time before someone's tried me like that. It's happened. It's happened, and at work, but it's been a really long time before anybody's tried me like that.
And the next question is, do you think it's realistic to wait for marriage before having sex with your partner? Why or why not? And I'm going to present some answers before y'all jump all over this one.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
All right, so this was interesting because this was neat, because it was the first time that I actually saw a split between the men. So some men believed, so yes, and I thought that was sweet. I love that the one man that had all these wonderful, questions before had the shortest answer of all. No.
You're like,
He was like, he's very sensitive about everything else.
I tried to first,
and I'm sorry, but I have to do it. I got to go back to to our prayer warrior. I got to go back and see what. So because this, we all agree, right, that this question is interlaced with religion, right? I mean, that's where this comes from.
Yeah.
So, and that answer was if a person has that type of upbringing, it is possible. But most people sorry. Oh no, y'all gonna fire me. If a person has that type of upbringing, it is possible, but most people sin. and engage in premarital sex, maybe they think that will last forever.
Because what?
Most people
think that it will last forever.
Interesting.
But you know what? I was raised that way. So this person in my family is absolutely right.
There you go.
I mean, that's, I was raised. Don't bring me into this.
Yvonne.
Don't bring me into this. I'm just reading questions. I'm not answering questions. I answered questions on there, but that was
not your answer.
I know.
That was anonymous. Y'all ain't calling each other out. Call me out.
We are giving our answers live on air, aren't we? I mean,
the other answer was, I think when you read the Bible, any answer that begins with, I think when you read the Bible, I don't think the rest of the answer you probably know, right? And then let's get to our men.
That was really cute. That was cute how you just gonna jump over the fact that we asked you what your answer is. Don't think you don't notice that. You ain't that smart, okay?
Listen, my mama is listening to this.
Mama,
I will tell you that, look, I think that for many people, it is not realistic. I think that it is not realistic for many people to have that.
Let you
yes, I believe that. I do believe that.
I'll just say this. Can I
here? I love this one male, and he said, "I think it can be. Have I seen it done? No."
Wow.
There you go.
Our men are funny. On here.
That's crazy. So he just said he just like that. They can't resist him, huh? That's what he said.
But I have seen it. I want to share. So I remember I met a person who was in her 30s and she was a virgin. And I was shocked, right? And she was with her boyfriend, longtime boyfriend. And the time we were working together, they got engaged. And they both valued waiting for sex before, waiting to have sex after marriage. And I thought I'd never meet a person, especially someone in their 30s, that old. And it was no interest to her. And I believe it was just her values. It wasn't religious. It was just her upbringing and her values that she had no interest in having sex before marriage. And I have a lot of respect for that. I feel like
I do too.
Me too. I have tremendous respect for that, honestly. I do.
And I do know that there is a celibacy revolution going on, that people, even though you're not a virgin, that some people remain celibate, right? Russell Wilson and Sierra were celibate before, up until getting married. I don't know if they never had sex before marriage, but at some point they talked about being celibate. So there are people who value celibacy and just, taking sex out of the equation so you can strengthen that bond. Which I think.
Listen, I do believe, and I know people that have been virgins and have waited, etc. I do believe when you talk about celibacy, though, I do believe there is a certain amount of clarity you can get when you are abstaining. Yeah. I do believe it's a certain amount of clarity in touch with yourself. And I would say that if you are feeling like you don't want to have it, you should not have it, because there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with, giving yourself to someone in that way. So I highly value it and I respect it. And I don't think it's impossible either at all. And I think some people honestly need to practice celibacy, because some people really feel like they can't live without it, and I think that's a problem too. That's an issue.
It is.
I mean, before we go to the next question, I just wanted to read one of the more level-headed answers from one of our males. I think it's realistic, but it shouldn't be expected.
Right there. Yep.
Somebody's got some knowledge. Somebody's dropping words right here. So the next question is, women, do you fake it in the bedroom? Why or why not?
That's a good one.
I know. Y'all want to hear answers before y'all answer this one.
Yes, I want to hear some.
The first answer is, A, hell nah.
That's good. That's good. Good for that person.
I mean, I honestly wish, I'm going to be honest with you, I wish I could read every answer on this because it was very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. I have in the past to avoid hurting my partner's feelings. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but I just... Y'all think the wrong person to read these answers. Yes, if the session is exhausting.
Oh, so they saying they lie to finish, to get it over with?
There you go. I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
She's not being pleased.
That's not a good thing.
You might have to share it, but your partner's ego is too big to listen.
Ooh, interesting.
No, because it's lying was an answer.
Mm-hmm.
No, because
okay. That's probably the...
And on this one, we had, a lot of NAs because that would have been from the men. Okay. Nah, if it ain't pleasing me right, you gonna know. I like these women. There we go.
I love it. See, women ain't afraid to speak up.
Oh, sometimes it's a necessary evil.
Oh my God.
Oh man, can we get all of these people on the show next time?
Sometimes it's a necessary evil.
Wow.
That is...
I love it. So I like this question because I feel like obviously men can't fake it, right? It's either you're having an orgasm or you're not, right? Yeah. With women, we're in a unique position, right? Where for whatever reason, and I did read a couple of the responses and I saw like one person said that sometimes their head's not in the game, right? It takes some time to mentally, because I think for women, sex, definitely a part of sex is mental, right? Mm-hmm. I do believe part. And I remember listening to this podcaster and she said that for her, the foreplay starts well before the sex, right? It's in the conversation. It's in the compliments. It's how they're treated. So a lot of times she's like, if you don't got me there, you don't have me in the bedroom at all, right? So those two things are connected. Our minds work differently, right? So I will say that, in my past, it's definitely something that I've done because I was afraid to bruise the ego of the partner I was with, not wanting them to feel like they weren't doing their best and it was, a lot of times it didn't have to do with them. It had a lot to do with me and what was going on with me at the time mentally. So I will say that.
And Dee, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I read one of the answers. I think something said I'm too old for that. And I think or something like that. It's like, you're gonna so even in the situation that Shawna said, when she said just now, when the person said that the foreplay starts way before you hit the bedroom, right? And if you haven't got me there, you're not going to get me in the bedroom. Well, then if you get to the bedroom and you recognize or this is happening and your partner hasn't stimulated your mind, right? And I'm going to say, wait, you got to stimulate my mind. But your partner hasn't stimulated your mind and you feel like it's falling flat in the bedroom. That's about communication too, right?
It is.
I'm not, you're going to get to the bedroom and then have to, put on the biggest show for what? If you talk about a long-term relationship, I just feel like there is no place for faking it.
One of the answers was really interesting from a woman, of course. No, if you can't get your needs met in such an intimate way, it's likely other needs will be unmet as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I do know we had a couple therapists answer these questions. So
did we?
A friend of mine that's a therapist. Yeah. No, very, very good answer. I think it's communication, connection. If you have a good connection and bond with your partner, there's no doubt you're going to be able to have that conversation. You absolutely should be able to have that conversation to say, hey, I like this, but I didn't like that. This because again, no one size fits all. Not all women.
Yes. Let's review. Let's have a postmortem of what happened tonight.
What? No,
Shawna said Shawna says we're going to review tonight. So let's review.
Saying that you have to communicate that if you're not being satisfied, you got to be able to have that conversation with your partner. And it couldn't, it may
you're right,
be
Shawna,
all the time thing. It may be like you're running into a slump.
Because that's sad. Isn't that sad? Like if you're with someone long term, right? If you're especially like if you're married and your needs are not getting met in the bedroom, I mean, Jesus. Like that is sad to me. Because how do you stay with someone? How do you say it's just like the question around sex before marriage. Why do most people have sex before marriage, right? It's a couple of things I feel like. They want to test to see if they're compatible, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
They have urges, you know, but people want to know, like, is this somebody I can actually be with? Like, can we connect in that way in the bedroom? Like, do we actually, you know, give each other what each other needs in the bedroom? I think that's the part of why people have sex before marriage.
You can have like let's just say you try it out and you have some sessions with that person right before. I mean you're intimate with that person prior to marriage, right? And it's great, it's amazing, it's one of the stars, there's the moon, whatever, right? But then after you had some, like there's a dry spell, maybe you guys aren't connecting because maybe you're not connecting because life gets in the way. Like I've talked to people where they've had dry spells in their long-term relationship, but it's all about, again, communication, connection. You know, maybe you're too stressed out at work to even think about intimacy.
Like life is happening.
Like, you know, and then if your partner is there with you, they're giving you that support. Again, the stuff that's not happening in the bedroom. And then when you have that moment to be intimate, you're going to have that love, you're going to have that connection because you're uplifting one another. And sometimes sex is not always the key focus in a relationship. Sometimes other aspects, you know, it's a roller coaster, or it's a scale. You have your moments when sex is really high, right? And then life, the kids, whatever's happening. If you have multiple kids, 3, 4 kids, when are you having sex? When you got 4 kids, when, where? Like, you going in the car? You going, like, where is it happening?
On your date nights, on your many date nights.
That's why the date nights are important.
That brings us to the next one, right? When we asked the men, right? We asked the men here, have you ever had a partner fake it? Why or why not? I mean, of course, it's the law of averages. That's the man that thinks like I think. Another man said, I wouldn't know. And another man said, never. Wholeheartedly. I think that's why I'm gonna let y'all talk.
Well, you know, come on. Anyway, how does
it disillusion? Poor things.
Right, exactly. Never really. You mean that she never said anything to you? Is that what you mean?
No, that means she's damn good. You don't know whether she's faking it or not. She's damn good.
Or maybe he's really in tune with his partner. We don't want to.
Oh, sorry. He's too in tune with himself.
Maybe he's in tune with. Listen, you got to be in tune with yourself first to be in tune with your partner, because you got to be able to set aside the ego, right? To be able to pay attention.
Dude, that's not where he set aside ego. Huh? No, he did not. He has not set aside no ego. I mean, unless, you know, his partner told him, I've never, you know.
Maybe.
I've never had to do that with you, honey. Ever.
Right, exactly.
And then we had a wonderful, wonderful answer. I don't believe so. I try to make sure my partner is satisfied in every way. Aww. And I'm going to give everybody his phone number. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you better not. This is anonymous. Stop it. No,
definitely anonymous. We don't know who said these answers.
Don't know who answered what.
And then the other one was, in response to men, have you ever had a partner fake it? No, not to my knowledge, but there are Oscar and Tony Awards for a reason.
Oh, wow.
We could not get through all of these answers. So I'm just going to say as a producer, we're going to have a whole nother show dedicated to the questions at the end, friends, right?
Absolutely.
And then also some of the ones that we missed. Okay, so we're definitely going to do that. But for now, let's get back.
I was going to say, just keep a lookout on social media, because we're going to post some of the questions and answers on our social as well, Instagram and Facebook, Co-Labbin, the podcast. So, okay.
That is good idea, because I think people need to see all of the answers, because they're great. Share notes. So that brings us to, what are some common myths or stereotypes about men and sex that you don't feel apply to you or most men you know?
I want to hear this one. Here, tell me all these.
Sometimes what people think is freaky is actual. Oh, whoa. Okay, sorry, I just read this without even. Okay, no. Okay, sometimes what people think is freaky is actually sexual trauma. That was from a female.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
From a female, that most Black men don't engage in oral sex, which is not true.
I never heard that myth.
I've heard that myth. Yeah, I've heard that myth for sure.
Here's what I've heard. I've heard Caribbean men. That's what I've heard, but I've not heard
don't engage in oral sex.
Yeah, I've heard Caribbean men, like
I haven't heard it.
Jamaican men. That's what I heard. But I never heard nothing about no Black men. Never in my life.
Okay, so that's why Dee is happy. So
never heard it.
Okay.
That the appendage needs to be large to satisfy. That is not true, and that came from a woman.
That the what has to be large?
What do you think has to be large, Shawna?
Okay.
They're hard.
But you know, that needs to be on the promo. What we just said just now.
Here.
It has to be large,
and it will.
Sometimes
that bigger is better. That was from a woman. Let's see. Let's get to the guys. Wait, this is interesting. The guys, a couple of them put not applicable.
Really?
But it was for them, right? That was for them.
Maybe they don't know what the myths are. Maybe they don't know.
Maybe they've never heard of any myths. Yeah.
Well, let's get to the men that did. You're right. All men care about is physical part of sex and not the emotional part of sex. That's what a man says. That men will chase anything that moves. I believe that a lot of men I know have eyes, but aren't just
not true.
But they're not just looking. Sorry.
No,
I'm saying it's true. It's a true myth. Like it's
yes. Yes.
I agree.
So he was saying, he continues by saying, I know a lot of men that have eyes, but they're not just looking to step out unless there's some unresolved issues, either personally or with their relationship. Men will sleep with anybody. That is definitely not our mindset.
Okay.
Depends on the man. I mean, that's what myths are. I mean, it can't apply to every single part of that, group. That's what they are. Some men are, chasing.
Promiscuous. They're promiscuous.
Very promiscuous, chasing. We know that. I mean, hey, I feel like sometimes myths come, it's like where there's smoke, there's fire. So, people live life, they have experiences. And so, that's where sometimes a myth comes from, but it's not every man. Of course not.
I do know men that are like that, right? They're more about the chase and less about settling down into a relationship. But that's when it comes down to knowing who you are. Don't get into a committed relationship and you're not ready for one. And I think a lot of men make that mistake of committing to someone and they're just not ready. They haven't sowed all their oats, so to speak.
Shawna, that was a great segue to the next question, right? Is monogamy, the next and last question, is monogamy realistic? Why or why not? I'll start off with one of the first questions, our answers. This is a tough question. This is the toughest question. But for marriage, it, all caps, should be realistic for marriage. We have quite a few unsures, quite a few of those. Yes, of course, but it is what God wants for us. It is what God wants for us.
It's what God wants monogamy for us. Okay.
Yes, for us to be monogamous. And then yes, because I know couples who are monogamous, so it is possible. And let's just get to some of the men real quick. Short answer, yes. Yes, again, if you and your partner share the same values. Absolutely. Oh, look at all the men. It is realistic. People have been monogamous. Yes, I believe so. Look at that. I think we have 100% from the men.
Wow, the men. Okay. So I'll just say this. This is like one of my favorite.
Not 100% though. Let me just note, not 100% from the women.
Interesting. That's interesting. I will say at one point in my life, I didn't believe in monogamy. I'm 100% say that. And let me tell you why. I never met a man that was monogamous, that didn't cheat. I have seen people in long-term relationships with after 30 years cheating happened. And that blew my mind. People with couples you have a lot of respect for, they're like that ideal couple, like that's how I want to be when I get married. And then they're no longer together. So I've experienced that. I've lived enough life to experience in that. And I'm like, is this a real thing, or is this just something pushed onto us from society? That's something that I thought about for a long time in my younger years. I will say with my current partner, it's actually, I learned that monogamy can be a real thing, right? You know what I mean? And not from my perspective, because, I've been monogamous. I've been in long-term relationships. And in my current relationship, I just feel like this is a person that's made for me. And that we're just so connected and have such a strong bond. It doesn't even enter the stratosphere about anyone else. Like we're just that connected and into each other. So I also think it's about the quality of your relationship, right? Are you meeting each other's needs? Are you doing things, traveling together? Are you having different experiences, like you said, Dee, going on a helicopter ride, doing something just to switch it up and keep it fresh? Because all that will, I think, add to the quality of your relationship.
I think I've never been. I'm a relationship person. I love love, and so the idea of not being. I've even had times when I've said, okay, I'm going to date someone. Like, I'm just going to date because, I've been in too many relationships throughout life. Like, I'm just going to get with this person. We're just going to date. And it never works out. It always winds up becoming a one-on-one thing. And I know that's how I operate best. I like building a deep relationship with someone. So I really don't do well dating here and dating there. Like, that's just not my thing. It's never been. So I want to believe that monogamy is realistic and that people can do monogamy, because I know a lot of people feel like we're not designed to be monogamous. Like, I've heard people say that, like, it's not a realistic thing. We're not designed to be monogamous and be with one person forever. I want to believe that that is not true, and that, it can be easy to be with one person if you have your person, like you were just talking about, Shawna. And you develop that deep relationship and deep commitment. Not to say that, it's not realistic to say that, will never be a question. We're all human, but I think that you have to, know yourself and know the relationship, and you have to want it. Everybody that I've talked to that have been in long-term relationships, and people say, well, how did you make it this long? They say, you got to want to be in this. Like, this is what you have to want. Absolutely. So, I think that's true. And in fact, I think that's the thing, is that you really have to want to be in relationship with this person.
That was fun. I really want to say thank you to our listeners for chiming in and sending us your responses. It's so special just to see the variety of answers. And
I loved it.
Gotta close out. Go ahead, Dee. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I loved it. I love hearing from the listeners. I love the realness of it.
Yeah.
And I love to engage in this kind of conversation. And I hope that we can continue after this episode in the comments, on social. Let's continue to build on this intimacy.
Absolutely. Let's share those tips and tricks to keep our relationships spicy and keep those on.
I got to know, guys. I have to know. What is one small thing?
I
didn't mean to say
I got this one. Okay, I got this.
Okay, what you got? What you got?
All right, Shawna, talk to us.
All right, I'm going to challenge our listeners.
Small and quick, Shawna, because we know how you.
I'm going to challenge our listeners, whether you're in a long-term relationship or when you do get in a long-term relationship, to have at least 4 date nights a month. 4 minimum, 4 a month.
To have them or schedule them?
To have them. I mean, go ahead and schedule them.
4 date nights a month.
No. That's right.
Wait. I think you need to just start with 1 month at least, just like, because that's just let them start with 1 month. Prove it.
Let's schedule a year.
1 month.
Yeah, Shawna was like, one small thing is a year.
What? Not playing.
No, let's keep it spicy, y'all.
We appreciate you. Thank you for co-labbing.
Thanks for co-labbing.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, Shawna. We're going to get some ideas for date night. I'm going to try to schedule 4 for the month.
I want notes. I want some notes.
That means I have to get a date.
That's right. You got to get a date.
Right. You need to listen to this episode and use this episode to get you a date, Yvonne.